We good to go?
Yep. All right. I can start us off, I guess. Hi, I'm Carson Seiberg, and on this project, my main role was doing the recode of the website, as well as a heuristic evaluation and a deep dive on a lot of the different problems inside the website.
Hello, I'm Christian Robb. I handled the persona and cognitive walkthroughs. I spent a lot of time trying to identify issues that users would be having with this site and how we might be able to fix them. Yeah, so that is a lot of the work that I did.
Hi, I'm Sage Long, and my portion of the project was within the wireframes and the sitemap of the website and our redesign. So I just kind of helped with design ideas, helped design new concepts for our project.
So this business is for the historic Gold Miner Hotel in Nederland, Colorado, just a little outside of Boulder. Their website is mainly just information on the hotel, as well as a few different avenues as to how to make bookings for individuals and groups and whatnot. Now we'll go into some of the problems that we addressed with our redesign. So one of the first changes we made was fixing some of the contrast issues that were throughout the site. Now they had this gray text beforehand that had a contrast ratio of 4.47 to 1, which was failing with the Wave Evaluator tool. So we've updated this to have a better contrast ratio of 12.63 that should be a lot easier to read for those who are a little hard of seeing. Another change we made was updating the structure of the site to have actual section roles. So we, beforehand, it had no section roles. It was just a bunch of very complicated divs that wouldn't have been very conducive to a screen reader or somebody navigating with just tabbing. So we've updated this to include roles like banners, main, complementary, as well as content info. Another change we made was making the navigation bar keyboard accessible. Now on the original site, the navigation bar has submenus, but these can only be accessed by hovering over with a mouse. So we've updated the navigation bar to be accessible with keyboard only. So users can tab onto the different submenus and then click enter to go through them, and then can tab or use the arrow keys to navigate, making this navigation bar much more accessible for screen reader users as well as users who can only use a keyboard.
All right, and another problem we noticed with the nav bar was it was pretty clustered and hard to tell each section from each other. So we spaced that out a little bit, and then we gave the nav bar a more clear focus. Whereas before, whatever page you were on it would only change the text to a different color. Whereas now we have a whole button that highlights based on which section of the page you're on, which just makes it easier to tell where you are on the page and easier to navigate with keyboard only as well. Right, and then we also updated the alt texts. A lot of the alt texts are being flagged by the Wave screen reader, which they basically just were not great explanations of what the images were. So we just kind of updated those to give them short, concise descriptions of the image. All right. And then we noticed also some problems with the heading structure of the site. Like for example, at the top there was just a section that probably should have been like a P tag or something like that, but it was marked as a heading tag, which would be confusing to someone who is trying to use a screen reader and navigate through different sections of the page. So we just updated those just to strong elements, strong elements.
So the next change that we made after that had to do with how the links were being displayed throughout the site. There are several points throughout the site that we're using this bold text style in order to outline what a link would be. That was sort of the affordance that they were attempting to go for there. But unfortunately, it's just not super duper clear for most users that is what a link should look like. So we did go through with the WCAG guidelines to get the link purpose guideline to really identified that these are links and that these can be followed to different pages. We did that by outlining them with the blue text as opposed to just bold, and then having that whole part of that be the link. So stretching them out a little bit like that, putting them in that blue text allows for users to really understand that that is a link and that clicking that will be going to a new page. And it gives them a little bit more of an idea of where they're going. After that, we made another change that was, it didn't make a whole lot of a change visually on the site. However, it did help a lot with screen readers and stuff like that. The change was it cleaned up a lot of the code handling like some of the structure. A lot of the headers and stuff like that were repeated multiple times. So this change allowed for screen readers to not be repeating information as often. And when tabbing through the site to not hit, not necessarily, we didn't hit any loops, but not hit any situations where we're going back to elements that we've already been to. So this change really cleaned up a lot of how we navigated through the site and allowed for users that were tabbing through or using a screen reader to really get their optimal experience. The last change that we made here that we're going to talk about handles with is all about how that top header was handled. The top header was a little bit unclear, and it didn't necessarily provide a clear way to navigate. The main changes that we made there were just like contrast changes, as well as changing, the big one that this slide is talking about is changing all of the acronyms to full words. That'll of course allow readers that are hard of seeing, that sort of thing, to see really where they're going and understand a little bit more of the text, just because there's more to see there. And that does follow through with some of those guidelines that we've talked about all semester, specifically guideline 3.1 there, just having things as readable as possible. So that covers all of the changes that we made to our site. Overall, we think that these changes will provide a better experience for a lot of users that may have any sort of disability, and it provides a more accessible experience online. Overall, these changes would be very beneficial for the site to take. And yeah, we hope that they can make these changes in the future.